Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and of YouTube. I am Skajarmas, otherwise known as Tone Shift. I almost forgot my name there for a second. What the hell? Welcome to Jibber Jabber. With me today, we have an interesting assortment. We have the two British people. We have Tom117Z, who is the author of the Change series and the author of the Patreon-exclusive reading, Soaring on Little Wings, as well as the co-author on many Idiocyverse stories. And right next to him, we have the other Brit, Darkness, who's, having to suffer through Ben as the creature that exists.
Hello, chap.
Fine, hello from the UK.
Mighty kind of you, chap. Next
God
up,
save the Queen.
next up, just kind of chilling out on Tom's head, looking like he's small, is Tux. Local meme lord.
Yep, that's me.
Next up, we've got Paladin standing in the background, staring into your soul.
Just woke up 30 minutes ago.
And last but not least, flying in from the right, he's positioned wrong. Oh, shit. Hold up a second. Malifor's positioned wrong.
Technical difficulties.
There we go. Okay, he's back in position. Flying in from the right to punch Paladin in the side of the head, because those two always seem to break into arguments, is Malifor. Thank you, Malifor. So, how's everybody's week been?
I just watched Doctor Who and it was great.
I got my.
All right, I say.
Nice. My week's been all right, kind of hectic. Wasn't able to record on Monday or Tuesday like the last few weeks has been. Don't know what that's about, but it's very frustrating because I'm only 2 chapters in to Library for 2. I want to get further into that, but for some reason, Mondays and Tuesdays, like my voice just decides, nah.
Yep.
Anyways, before we get to the main assortment of topics that we have today, there's one little thing I kind of wanted to say really quick. It's probably gonna mean absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things, but I just kind of want to say it just because it's kind of relevant to me. Specifically speaking, I want to wish my dad a happy birthday. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Tone Shift's dad.
Yes, happy birthday, Dad. You're probably never going to see this, but if you do, hey! So yeah,
He's standing out disappointment.
I mean, I'm not so sure about that. It's kind of hard to read him. I just know that he talks way too much when he gets even a slight amount of alcohol in his system.
He's looking down, like, where have I gone wrong?
He's not the one who went wrong. That was me. Anyways. So, breaking from the format we've had for the last many weeks, we are finally going to be able to talk about Season 8, largely because over here in the States, it's finally complete, so all of the episodes are out in the place where I'm from, so finally I can talk about it without having to question where the hell everyone is at. So just as a quick heads up, for those of you in the audience who have not finished off watching Season 8, we're going to be talking about the season as a whole, which means probably some spoiler discussion is going to happen. So there's your spoiler warning for Season 8. If you want to go unspoiled, click away now, go watch, and then come back. It's not that hard. You live on the internet. You've got time, probably. I don't know. I'm assuming shit.
Honestly,
Anyways.
you should have expected.
Yes.
Like, what did you expect?
Well, anyway, so I think we'll just go through everyone one at a time to sort of get their overall thoughts on the season. So we'll start with me, I guess, being the host. Haha, ego stroking. Anyways. As things stand, on the whole, I liked the season, but there were a lot of points throughout it that just did not sit right with me. I was intrigued very much by the concept of a friendship school, but I don't know. I don't feel like that concept really started coming together and working until really late into the season with the one where the Student Six met the Tree of Harmony. And the Student Six themselves, I felt like a lot more could have been done earlier on to make them more interesting. I didn't really start feeling interested in most of those characters, aside from Ocellus, until much later on. Like second half of the season. Like, I liked Ocellus from the start just because she had a very clearly defined personality and character trait of being a shy changeling who is also incredibly geeky. Like, she's a combination of Twilight and Fluttershy with the changeling history and shapeshifting ability, so great concept right there for that character already, but the rest kind of felt, I don't know, until they had that some episodes down the line with, like, the Hearthswarming one and the one under the school with the Tree of Harmony, I don't know, they just felt kind of like they didn't have a whole lot going for them as far as being individual characters go. Like, they were all kind of one note until those points started coming up for me. So, like, Silverstream was fun and energetic, but there wasn't much nuance to that fun or energy. Smolder was just kind of an asshole. In an entertaining way, but still just kind of an asshole.
I mean, like any other dragon that's not Spike or Ember.
Yeah, Gallus was kind of in the same boat. And Yona, frankly, I didn't really like her because I thought she was annoying.
Who's that again?
Yoda smash for such insult.
Yona's the yak. Who, interestingly enough, although, fun fact, when she was first introduced, I thought her name was Yoda. I don't know what it was. Just the way she was talking. I was like, wait, is she calling herself Yoda? What the hell?
Speak friendship, we will.
Yona the yak. But
Make friends, we
I
must.
thought her whole thing of Rocker was quite adorable.
yeah. And I mean, that's a good example of Yona getting some good character development and further establishment. But in general, I just think like a lot more could have been done over the course of the season as a whole to give the characters more depth earlier on than what they got towards the end, because even towards the end, the depth they got was limited. If I had to pick which of the Student 6 would be my favorites at present, Ocellus would still claim the #1 spot, but a very close second would be Gallus, because of two main things. For one thing, he's a confirmed orphan, and the Hearthswarming episode gave him some fantastic character development, some genuine depth and multiple dimensions to him. And more than that, his claustrophobia. That's a very that's a new thing to introduce to a character. So we have a claustrophobic orphan who is willing to go above and beyond what could be seen as normally within the right thing to do just to stay with his friends. That makes for a very interesting character, and so I like him a lot for that. And I just have a soft spot for orphans because my leading story that I've ever written happens to feature an orphan as the main character. So a bit of bias there, but point remains. Now, as things stand, following after all of that, the season as a whole, again, I enjoyed it, but like I said earlier, there were a lot of episodes and scenes that kind of just didn't click right with me. A great example would be the one with Applejack and Rainbow Dash leading that field trip for the Student 6. That one was
that's one of the two episodes of MLP I totally didn't like.
Yeah, I couldn't even watch that episode beyond the first couple of minutes. Like, oh my god, you guys... It's because that, yeah, we talked about that earlier on in Jibber Jabber, like many episodes back. It's like they took all the character development these characters had and just like, well, that never happened. So to me,
It was
that episode
pretty
never
much
happened.
a rehash of the Running of the Leaves episode
Yeah.
from the first year.
Yeah. It's been 7 years. They've had time to grow.
And I kind of know what happens. It was a brand new writer who wrote the episode, and they clearly hadn't really understood the characters at that point in time.
Yeah.
They knew how they were, but they didn't know how they are.
Yeah. Disgruntling.
Yoni Yak almost drowned.
As far as my favorite episodes in the season, it would probably have to be the one with the Kieran. Go figure.
Lord and Blaze.
Yeah.
Adorable.
I mean, who doesn't love musical theater? Yeah. I don't, but
The episode had the second best song in the season, the best song being Yak Song. Yak Song. Not very long. Sing again.
Yak Song. I didn't even remember that until you said it. But a very close second would be the Hearthswarming one, just because it gave us some more insight into the various cultures of the various races that have become mainstays to the series. And it showed how the changelings how the changelings are continuing to adapt to life after Chrysalis. Also, sharing the second place spot would have to be the one with Chrysalis showing up. It would actually be my favorite one if Chrysalis's plan had had some tangible impact on the main 6 going forward, even if they didn't know.
She's just completely lost it. She's clearly, from being alone, is just completely gone stir crazy.
Yeah, she's gone stir crazy. And it was great to see Chrysalis again, but I wish they had done a bit more with that appearance. She was basically just background Team Rocket for that episode, and there's so much more that could be done with her.
I reckon in the series finale, next season. I say series finale. The finale of next season isn't the official finale. There's a special after that, but we still got a special coming up in November as well.
Yes, they still need the permanent.
Yeah, I am fully confident Chrysalis is going to get redeemed.
No.
I think it will eventually happen. It'll be very hard fought, but I think it's going to have something to do with the Hive, clearly.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Don't do this.
It will. I mean, next season's the last season, and I think, well, from things I've had spoiled from the leaks, I think it just makes sense with some things I know are going to happen.
9. No. I refuse.
Malifort, by the way, your voice is really quiet. I can barely make out anything you're saying, so...
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, you're really quiet. You need to adjust your volume a bit. I've done everything I can on my side.
I'm loud and I'm small.
Well, usually Malfoy is quiet when he's not losing his fuse here. So,
can we also talk about Satan's child for a little while?
Hey, you mean Cozy Glow?
Yes.
Oh,
Not
how the hell did she even become pen pals with Tirek is what I want to know, because you think maximum security prison that may or may not be actually handled by ponies. We don't know. It just seems to be its own little spot.
It seems to be largely magically automated.
Yeah, like it seems to be automated, but like, how the hell do you become pen pals with a creature in there? You would think, considering the horrible things that are trapped in there, that communication would not be allowed. And Tirek doesn't have any power right now, except for like just some.
I was gonna put it down to Cozy Glow figuring out a way, because she seems to be intelligent beyond her years, if incredibly naive.
And now she's in Tartarus too, which I was not expecting, except I was because some dipshit spoiled it in a voice chat by saying, "I can't believe Cozy Glow wound up in prison." I'm like, motherfucker.
If my head canon that after the events where we didn't see as her being taken to a child psychologist and being deemed a just unrepentant psychopath.
It would make sense.
Yeah. She did commit mass treason, so I think that goes beyond juvie somehow.
Equestria's security is about as good as my sanity. Completely fucking.
Still, she was acting entirely off of Tirek's plan, which she believed would make her the Empress of Equestria, though I don't think that really would have panned out. Like, Tirek's whole reason he was giving her this plan is just to get rid of the magic and get his revenge. I don't think he really cared that afterwards Cozy Glow would most likely be arrested and no one would follow her.
Which I believe was a plan that was thought up too soon.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally saw
which
an army of
failed
guards
miserably.
descending down onto Cozy Glow right as the magic returned.
Not to mention the princesses themselves.
Yeah. I think Tirek probably knew that, but he just didn't care.
Yeah.
He was relying on her being very naive, since she's really intelligent, but she's still a
there's
child.
One thing, why did Luna go with her?
To escort her, basically?
Yeah, there's Luna and 2 guards
Yeah.
dropping her off.
Yeah, it would be like drowning her child.
What?
What?
What the hell are you talking about? Luna, she was sentenced to Tartarus. Luna and 2 guards dropped her off and then left. I don't see what's weird about that.
That's just how you do shit. If you want someone to, if you're escorting someone somewhere, you kind of have to take them there.
You can't just freaking.
But why wasn't all of them?
You can't just say.
They didn't send all of them. It was just Luna and 2 guards. She was just overseeing it.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's royal protocol or some shit.
Yeah, like you're putting someone in Tartarus, like royalty needs to be present or something, because putting someone in Tartarus is a big fucking deal. It's the
Also-
highest security
Okay.
prison known in Equestria.
Okay, I understand.
One
you?
nice little visual reference I noticed in Tartarus. Did you see the bugbear from Slice of Life in there?
Bon secret agency may be dissolved, but
They got it back.
nice.
Well,
I
Also, the tapping's coming from you, Tux. I can confirm that.
All right, nice. So, but other things in regards to season 8. I mean, just all in all, I feel like it was kind of a weak season. Like, it was far from the weakest. That honor goes to season 3, but I do think like it's far from it's far from the best the show's ever had.
Season 7 was probably, in my opinion, the best
10
season.
out of 10.
Oh yeah, season 7 was easily the best, hands down.
As my favorite episode of the entire show, which is the perfect pair, and it doesn't even have Twilight in it.
completely whack. It was just a little whack. Like, meh. Yeah.
But there is one thing that I hated about the entire season, and that's Chancellor Nate fucker. That's what I call
Oh, you
Chancellor
meant to
Nate.
hate him.
Yeah, the bigot.
Yeah, you're supposed to do that.
As much that scene where Cozy manipulated the school into tying him up, as much as I didn't want to see Cozy succeed, that scene was still very sasatisfying.
Hey,
Because-
bigoted
I mean,
dick.
literally.
Hello, bigoted dick twat.
Racist.
Get stuck in a chair.
Oh, so I know magic is disappearing from our Equestria, but let's blame these teenagers simply because they're not ponies.
Yes.
It's
Race.
logic.
That is a good
Yes.
Racism at its maximum accord right here.
Yep. I was honestly, although interestingly enough, I was worried that the school would wind up getting burnt down in the season finale because that's kind of what that spelling of raise means.
But I could have had the dismantling of Cozy's spell gone wrong.
I suppose. Yeah, generally, I was just worried that the school was going to be burned down. Like,
oh no.
Like I was
that's-
like I was anticipating Nay say like temporarily doing something weird, Chrysalis somehow getting involved to burn the school down to scatter the non-pony students and make it look like an accident or an assault from an other force so that Naysay wouldn't get his hooves dirty.
I love how they convinced Tyrek to go back on his own plan by just pointing out that if they're trapped in Tartarus forever, he'd have to be exposed to Pinkie Pie forever.
And thus began one of the most brutal torture scenes in all of media. Pinkie Pie. Enough said.
Also, to point out
Honestly.
one flaw with the school being burned down is if they've got 2 dragons that can breathe fire. I think they'd probably have that place insulated.
If they wanted to save the school, just get a rock off and a fountain. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Now we just get Tom.
Yes.
Oh god.
Quick, Tom, save Twilight School.
I can't go to Equestria. I don't have the power to breach dimensional barriers, or I'd be there already.
Honestly, if it was possible, I'd go there myself and I'd bring Tom just to hook him up with his waifu.
You just show up at the
I
castle.
just want to go there to have a life.
Like, you just show up at Twilight's house with Tom hogtied, you knock on the door, you drop him off, put a rose on his back and a letter saying, marry this creature, and then run away. Twilight opens the door, looks down, what the fuck? And Tom's just like, ooh. He goes, oh shit, best pony! And
Honestly, that was not how I was playing it. I was just
and
playing
now
a
there needs to be an
Twilight going on a
Innishiverse
blind
story
date with
about
Tom.
someone being drunk.
Oh, we're still backed up on those. We need to get cracking at some point.
Tom. I ship it.
Of course you do. Of course, yeah.
And,
fucking do.
and of course, everyone ships me with Chrysalis. Even...
Mostly because you shipped yourself to Chrysalis. Quite literally, it was your freaking pony Sona.
Alright. Alright.
There are
Forgot about that.
significant differences character-wise from him and me, so not.
I still am looking at
That's
the
not
name
the one
Tone
for that
Shift
brain.
with a certain stallion as your profile picture there. Tone Shift.
My OC and my Pony Sona are not necessarily the same thing. You need to understand.
I know who you ship
Yeah.
that for.
We know what you say one thing, but we know on the inside you feel another.
We're moving on.
Hey, you get to tease me about Twilight. I didn't get to tease you about Chrysalis, bitch.
I was gonna say I'd also bring along Hades and Blank.
Anyway, so I think we've gone over season 8 enough at this point. I don't really have anything else to add to it as a season overall.
So we just got technically we've got one more episode of season 8 coming up, and that's the Christmas special. Then next year we've got season 9, and then after season 9 we have the season 9 finale. We have one more like hour and a half or so long special to finish things off.
And then isn't there like a CGI movie planned to cap everything off after that?
Yeah, from what I've heard and suggested by the leaks, the CGI movie is the first entry of Gen 5, but the CGI movie will have links to the final Gen 4 special, and the Gen 4 special sets up Gen 5, which suggests to me that Gen 5's in an alternate universe within the same continuity as Gen 4.
We'll see how it goes.
And something the main 6 does kind of gets the ball rolling in that universe.
It reminds me of a group of people trying to do a spin-off of MLP. It was called Dusk's Dawn.
Well, we have another topic now to bring up. This one's more amusing. That's just kind of a fun anecdote. So,
siblings.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and run you through this. Everyone, let me tell this story before you start giving your thoughts on it, just so I can get the story out of the way and make sure the audience isn't confused. To basically summarize what happened, I posted the newest chapter of Bug in the Basement on FimFiction.
Oh, God.
And already Malifaux is breaking down.
I'm going to kill her
tomorrow. Okay, calm yourself and let me explain the situation.
Yeah,
and then kill her.
Your boxer's gonna twist.
Calamity in your memories.
So basically what happened is I posted the new chapter. First comment I get comes from a user named Arkham, which reads, "You suck, get a life, you asshole."
Oh, no.
My immediate, no punctuation and barely any capitalization. My immediate response is, well, aren't you just charming? That comment has 19 thumbs down at this point, by the way.
Jeez.
I was just entertained that.
And one thumbs up.
I was just genuinely amused and entertained that this person seemed to be under the impression that I would be offended or insulted. But something just struck me as off about the comment. Like, it seemed familiar in a way, and the fact that it's a picture of Cinder doesn't help. And, you know, Malifaux here on the channel had a picture of Cinder as his profile pic for a long time, too. So I went to this Arkham's profile page just to kind of check. There I saw a comment chain back and forth where Arkham seemed to be much nicer, and told someone that they have a Discord where their name is Malifaux number 1020.
Hello, Malifaux. How are you doing there, Malifaux?
So I screen capped that, checked Malifaux's number on Discord, and it's the same thing. And, you know, I asked him about it, like, is this you? And naturally, you know, he said no because he's not an asshole. We went back and forth about this for a little bit, and we eventually were able to deduce that apparently his little sister had used his phone to leave that comment because for some reason that I personally am unaware of, she doesn't like me.
Well, the reason is that I showed her one of your videos, and he said this. Wow, this guy is lame.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see, that's not a reason for why she dislikes me. That's just she dislikes me. That doesn't tell me why or for what reason she has a distaste for me.
Girl, I don't.
The fact that she's a child and she's like totally lame.
12 years old.
12.
Yeah.
Well, it would definitely explain.
Still a child.
It would definitely explain the lack of creativity and originality in the insult and why it was just so amusing.
Talk's been a choke slam some girl.
So
you find just about
a sister finna get folded.
Have you already confronted her about this, Malifaux, or is this to come?
Oh yes, he is grounded. Tomorrow we're gonna have a big talk.
Nice. Malifaux's little sister, whatever your name is, I don't know. I haven't been told, and I don't really want to know because I don't plan on validating your privacy because I'm better than that. You really need to get more creative with your insults if you want to get under my skin, because really, this is just hilarious.
And what should you call lame? Because the internet might find out about it one day.
You got, girl, you gotta do research or something. Like, you gotta research Brian just if you want to hurt his feelings. Like, you gotta do better.
You gotta know who I am. I have a thicker skin than that. Do I have the thickest skin in the world? Probably not. But I think enough that using an insult that is so generic that a bot could do better than that is not going to be enough to get under my skin, especially since you don't tick any of my boxes. I have boxes that set me off. You ticked none of them. You just ticked the incredulity boxes. So.
Also, if you're listening to this, gal, get your own account. Don't frame your brother.
Yeah, that's an important thing. Use the Hell4's freaking account. If you want to complain at me or insult me, use your own frickin' piece of hardware and account. Don't hijack your big brother's, because really,
he's going to ever get it back because she's run it for a long time. No phone, no laptop, no nothing.
I'm not offending, but to be honest, if I came across that would just remind me of basically the interesting community of Call of Duty players I came across a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
I was half expecting you to say, "Oh, that reminds me of the time that Ben used my account."
Funny short story. Him and technology don't get along.
I long figured that when he almost burned the house down making soup.
He had a gaming laptop. He got a virus in just a few seconds.
Holy shit.
Beyond prepare.
Did he open his first email? Oh, I'm a winner. I'll follow this link.
I hate to derail us for a second here, but Soviet in the Discord server just posted a comment in the writing and feedback thread, and I got it. I think it's in relation to the newest chapter of Bug in the Basement. And it's hilarious.
Oh, I see what's going on here.
And it reads as follows: Your body. Virus, I'm giving you one last chance to leave. Virus responds, Oh yeah? What are you going to do about it? Your body slowly starts cranking up the thermostat. Hey, stop that! Your body continues to crank the thermostat. Well, if you keep doing that, I'm going to hit random buttons. Virus slams button. You vomits into trash can. Oh, make it stop. Your body cranks the thermostat up to 107.
Seems about right for every 107.
Oh.
Getting a little hot in here, isn't it? He's updating it.
Making his own little story here.
I like it.
Plagiarize.
The Malfour thing reminds me of something I did when I was like, 10?
Why did the virus sound like it smoked a pack of cigars every hour?
I was trying to make it sound like
it's a virus. Do you expect it to be healthy?
I was trying to. I like how everyone just keeps interrupting me. Talk about rude.
We don't like viruses here.
Finally, the virus was like, fine, I'll leave, guy. Which makes sense because in the chapter, that's how Eventide described like why the body goes into a fever. It's not to kill the virus; it's to make it leave and go somewhere else, because he doesn't want to introduce his son to the concept of death just yet. So, yes, but yeah, there's Malfour's little sister's anecdote. Just kind of a fun little story on the side.
Saying reminds me of something I did.
Hey,
one of my older brothers.
He leaves a comment on this video. What do you say?
Of course, instead of writing hate comments, I flirted with a chick.
What? What? Hold up.
We don't need to hear that story. We don't.
Oh, they save it to improvisation.
No, we just don't need to hear that.
Don't think about this. This is content. Think about this. You have a chance.
Save it for
I
improvisation.
can do better.
You have content.
I'm so can she.
Oh, wait.
Anyways, let's move on. New topic. Yeah. Tom,
Yes.
you take the reins. Apparently, there was a troll in your Zelda D&D game, so tell us that
Yes,
story.
I have a 1,000-word long document just of what happened, just so I can remind myself. I made just after it.
God.
Exactly for this reason.
Here. Is it like just a highlights thing, or?
It's just notes on what happened, so I could remember for this jibber jabber.
Epic story time with Tom. Go.
Alright, sit down, you little shits. I'm gonna tell you the story about this one-off Zelda D&D we did in a pub.
Hey, I know I'm little. I emphasize it, okay?
Also, Paladin, we're repeating from your mic.
Wait, I'm on your head.
Wait, really? Is it me?
You telling me to sit down?
But yeah,
I've got earplugs in. It shouldn't be echoing.
well, someone is. Well, it seems to be fine now. It was from Paladin. Maybe just turn your volume down a tad if you can. Or is it from Malafor?
I think it's from Mount. Maybe? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Technology, don't you love it? Anyway, well, they sorted that out. Some context. So basically, last week, it's me and some university friends, basically a local pub that some of my friends work at, which is also affiliated with the university. It's still coming from you, Paladin. Anyway,
I don't know what to do about it.
just maybe keep yourself muted unless you need to talk until it fixes. Anyway. Oh no, it's definitely Malafor.
It's Malafor.
Oh, wait, I don't know.
It's coming
Tom,
from you,
I want an
Malafor.
apology.
I don't think it's me.
It was because Paladin was muted and your mic lit up with my voice coming out of it.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, okay.
Yep. So unless
Well, I'm gonna mute my headphones now.
mute yourself until you're
Alright.
speaking.
Now, if I can actually get to this fucking story one day.
Never.
God damn. So, as I was saying, some friends at the university work at a pub called The Tram. It's kind of half owned by the university. They set up a roleplay night with various tables and DMs, and I got onto a table with a group of friends, plus one guy I don't really know, but I've seen him around. And we were doing a Legend of Zelda roleplay set just after the events of Ocarina of Time. I've only ever played Ocarina of Time, so I was very lucky. Yeah, you're never getting an apology, Paladin, in the chat there. Deal with it. Anyway, so there was me, I was playing a Twily, which is like... Yeah, I chose the race called the Twily, go figure. It's basically the Shadow Realm people from Twilight Princess. I was called Shadowman, because I was a Shadow Man. We had... The other person I know that I kind of know, but not really, called Dan Rice, who was playing this tree person thing, his race I can't remember, called Slick Stick. My friend Alex was playing a human sheik, which is like a ninja thing, called Rin. And then the last character, the troll, was Normus the Normie. Oh boy.
You can see my face right now.
Yeah. Because she was playing the bland human character. The character was male. She's not. And yeah, also trolling. So, the trolling started in the first freaking encounter, or the freaking first lines of the story. We started out in Hyrule, outside the Temple of Time. The Captain of the Royal Guard was just in the opening, the DM playing the Captain of the Royal Guard was reporting that one of the seals around the trapped Ganon at the end of the game had broken, and the seer that's meant to guard said seal was apparently in trouble in the Forest Temple. And since Link, the main character of Ocarina of Time, was gone, it was up to us, random people, to go and save the day. So, he called out into the crowd for volunteers. Rin, I'm going to use character names from now on, volunteers out of the good of his heart. My character volunteers out of boredom. Slickstick volunteers for glory. And Normus is a heckler, jeering that we're all going to die.
You're all gonna die!
Yeah. Normus does this so much that the captain of the Royal Guard forces Normus to come along as punishment.
You're confident they're gonna die so much? Go with them. You can die too.
Now, at this point, we were meant to leave right away, pretty much, but we decided to spend time around town to kind of prepare. So we managed to managed to convince the captain of the Royal Guard to give us 20 rupees each, so we have some spending money to go and get gear. Me in particular, I want to get a cloak, because my character in the sun and night has bonuses, but in the sun has debuffs. But if I get a cloak, I can just be normal in the sun. Like, I won't have, like, stamina costs. Since I'm a shadow person. So, first place we go, though, is the potions shop to try and get a healing potion. Turns out, it costs freaking 200 rupees, and we have 20 each. So, like, we find out very quickly Hyrule has prices through the roof, and it's all a freaking rip-off. So I eventually just leave them to it. They go and play a couple of games and, like, betting to get some extra rupees. Luckily, they get some good rolls, and like Dan Rice's character, Slickstick, gets like 100 rupees. I find a clothing shop where the shopkeeper is a racist and mistakes me for a ghost and is only willing to deal with me through the letterbox. So that was fun. I also had to borrow some rupees off Slickstick, so I ended up indebted to him for the rest of the campaign.
Okay.
I managed to buy a cloak, though, at which point I went off and found Rin's character, or Rin, that is the character, in a shop buying a random large plant bowl from a rather dim-witted woman who was obsessed with decaying flowers. We'll find out more about her later, the seemingly inconsequential NPC that was just a random shopkeeper. But yeah, he buys the bulb, and inside is a piece of a heart to get more health for the entire group. Also, Normus then goes up to a group of kids, tells them I'm a demon. Half of them believe it while she pays off the others with 5 rupees. So they start a panic and a mass evacuation of the town, so he can go across to each shop and rob them blind.
Wow.
I mean, points for creativity. I'll give her that.
And in the end, all Normus managed to steal was a couple of wheels of cheese and a bottle of milk.
Now, wait a second.
No crackers.
At this point, we return to the thoroughly confused captain of the Royal Guard, since we've already derailed this campaign by starting a freaking stampede through the town and mass evacuation. Well, Normus did, the rest of us were just... I was racially abused, so... God. But the captain comes with us and leads us to the Lost Forest. It gets dark pretty quickly, night falls, but since I'm a shadow person, I have night vision, so I lead the way through the forest. At this point, creepy laughs start happening around us as we get into the forest, and the path we were following to the forest temple vanishes, and we get turned around, pointing south when we're meant to be going north. We don't know when that happened. A little while later, music begins. We don't know what the music is, so me and Slickstick decide to play along with it to kind of see what will happen. It becomes deafening to the point it wants to burst our eardrums, so we stop. The music stays deafening, so Slick fires an arrow at the source, with me firing a bolt of magic. We kill whatever was casting the music.
It was
so
just
it quiets. Pretty much after this, we start to see shadows in the trees jumping around us. One fires an arrow at Rin, which misses, and another at me, which I kind of phase out of existence for a moment into shadow to avoid it. Another then fires at me and hits me in the shoulder, so I turn and fire another bolt of magic in the direction and kill whoever took a shot at me. Bear in mind that Rin has been trying to stop us from fighting back because he thinks they might be friendly. Spoilers, they aren't. Normus is thankfully hit by magic and muted, so she can't talk because he hasn't stopped talking this entire time. Slick decides to run away and gets lost in the forest, and the captain of the Royal Guard vanishes. The others remaining in the group I'm with, namely Rin and Norma, start arguing what to do left. So I find the direction using like my survivalist skills to where we need to go. I try and lead the way. The others don't follow me immediately, so we get separated. I get attacked again. I managed to phase to dodge it. This time I was attacked with a ball of magic. They do it a second time. It hits me this time, and it blinds me in a pitch black forest full of creatures trying to kill me. The others during this time, though, managed to find a clearing. I eventually stumble out of it, at which point Normus accuses me of killing the captain and declares themselves the new captain of the Royal Guard.
Wow.
Sure,
and Normus is
Promotion.
Basically.
Normus is adamantly trying at this point to turn, like, Slickstick managed to join us as well, trying to turn Slickstick and Rin against me, but have them, like, imprison me since I'm apparently a murderer now who killed the captain even though I was blindly walking in a forest for a while. They roll to try and see through the deception. They fail their roll, so they go to do it. Luckily, at this point, whatever was hunting us murdered itself is a giant skull kid, which is to those of you who don't know Legend of Zelda lore, it's a child who got lost in the forest and became a supernatural creature, basically.
Okay.
Slick fires an arrow at this classic Zelda enemy. Rin, still thinking they might be friendly, steps in front of the arrow and takes the hit directly in the chest. Immediately after, the Skull Kid takes a swing at Normus and almost takes his-her head off, confirming that it's not friendly, and he took that arrow to the chest for nothing. Big shock there, we've been trying to turn the entire freaking time. At this point, a boss fight ensues. I cast Fatigue and several bolts of magic, and then start stabbing it with my special Sword of Twilight. Normus just sets it on fire. Slickstick hits it with an arrow, and then I finish it with beheading. Rin didn't do much because he'd been hit in the chest with an arrow. Oh, also Slick accidentally shot Normus in the back with an arrow at one point, because the creature cast like darkness around, which doesn't welcome me because I have night vision. But it blinded Rin and Normus. So Normus lit a lantern to see where it is. Slickstick, seeing the light, thought that might be the creature, so took aim and fired at it. And hit Normus instead. But we do manage to kill it. I behead it. At which point the fire that Normus started almost begins a forest fire. In the forest we're trying to save. So Normus steals my cloak. Bear in mind it's daylight now, so I take immediate debuffs. Soaks it in the milk Normus stole, and then beats the flames out with it before giving it back, which is now like a burnt, milk-stained cloak, which caused our characters to start a fight.
That doesn't sound hardy at all. That's nasty.
At which point, a passage opens up to the forest temple. We descend down. The first place we find is like a rickety bridge over a river underground. Slick and Rin make it across, but as I cross, it collapses beneath me. I find some treasure in the water, luckily. Rin has to pull me out before I run out of stamina and drown. Though Normus tried to follow me in, and then almost drowns him-herself, because wearing full armor while I wasn't. So after all of that, we then had to rescue Normus from drowning. After this, we headed into a snake-filled tunnel. I get badly wounded in here before we kill the snakes, because I got bitten a few times. We then find the Song of Light, which I specifically have to learn. Mainly because Rin tried to learn it first and failed the role, and I was also musically inclined as a character. Next room we come across is a dark room in which only I can see because of my night vision. I'm really glad I chose that. Basically, the room has multiple bridges over a foggy abyss with multiple plinths around from bridge to bridge. At which point, Slick decides to see what's down there by jumping off the bridge and into the abyss. Despite the fact that Slick can fly and decided to jump without flying because Slick forgot that Slick has wings. So luckily it was a short fall, though it does hurt him a bit, and he falls past the door we need to go through. Luckily, he then remembers he can fly and flies up to it. Rin makes the jumps over to it. Well, Normus and I collapse a bridge and make a makeshift ladder, which is safer. At which point, this is several hours in, we come across the final boss chamber. I'm going to mention something now. At this point, it was really late in the night. I was originally going to leave earlier. But since we're at the final boss chamber, I decided I might as well stay for the rest of it. That's going to be rather an important point in a minute. But yeah, we're in this massive chamber. There's a bunch of web up the top. Within the web, there's like a squirming mass of something. So Slick fires an arrow at it, at which point we hear a woman's voice scream. So Rin, we think it's the sage or seer or whatever that we're meant to rescue that was just shot by accident.
God.
So Rin wall jumps up, grabs it, and brings her down. It's the fucking woman from the plant shop. From the beginning, the dim-witted one who sold him the massive bulb.
Okay.
We ask if she's the sage. She says no, but the sage is now part of her collection. We realise that she's the final boss, so Slick fires another arrow at her. She then turns into a giant spider.
Huh.
Yep.
Well,
that was fun. I knew it'd be a fucking spider.
The webs didn't give it away.
Yeah. So turns out we were right to shoot it originally. We were just not so right to get it down. Slick fires another arrow at it. It summons a minion, which Rin deals with. Norman starts another fire inside the forest temple, which we're trying to save.
Oh god.
So the entire place starts to burn down. Because, I mean, why not? Thanks, Normus. I cast a magic bolt at it before moving back and start to use the Song of Light, thinking it might come in handy. I previously used the Song of Light in the Dark Chamber to allow the others to see, and I think this might be useful against the boss. I'm not sure what it will do, but I might as well try. And it will take 2 turns for me to accomplish. However, on the spider's next turn, it impales me, and I'm knocked out and bleeding to death.
Ouch.
So, yeah, I'm dying. Slick and Rin continue to fight it. They find a weak spot in its back. At one point, Slick causes a staglamite to fall and impale it, but it doesn't quite kill it. Normus, deciding he wants to see what the Song of Light's going to do, rushes over, takes out the cheese wheel that she took at the beginning of the campaign and shoves it in my face to heal me, because video game logic.
I was worried you were gonna say they shoved it into the puncture wound in your body to plug it.
No, just shoved a wheel of cheese in my face and the wound sealed shut. I have some ration packs. I use those to get some more HP back. I then start up the song again. Slick manages to kill the spider finally after a few more hits. And it kind of just, all the spideriness retracts and turns back into the woman. Same turn, I finally complete the song and purge all the dark magic taint from the temple, which also stops the creature from reviving. Basically, had I left as I was originally planning to, they wouldn't have had the Song of Light, so the final boss would have been unbeatable. Same if I had died. They wouldn't have been able to beat the boss. They would have been fucked.
But you feel special.
Don't I just?
Special
Freaking MVP me. even though I was the only one to go onto my death counter, but we're not going to mention that.
The power of Wiggles was upon you.
Yep, and I'm in a milk-stained, burnt cloak.
The power Wednesday you will never die.
You know what? Whenever we do the next Idiocyverse story, like Kevin versus Angel, Twilight shows up at some point to like retrieve Kevin and put him somewhere else, but she's wearing a milk-stained cloak with burn marks.
Kevin?
A brown bunny that hates Angel Bunny, who hates him right back. They had a epic sword duel, and Queen Chrysalis hugs everything. The next
Queen Chrysalis and Kevin are kind of soulmates now.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, to the end of the story, we still have a bit more from Normus to come.
Of course.
So, since the boss has been defeated and all the taint's been gone, like we saw like almost a demonic being exiting from the woman who's bleeding out and dying. So we think, oh shit, maybe this was the sage after all, was possessed by a spider demon. I have one more ration, so I go and shove that in her face to kind of get her up again, see if she's all right. Turns out she isn't the sage, and she was faking, and then made a strike at me again, and I just healed her. I phase out of existence, and the attack passes through me. However, it turns out the ration wasn't quite enough to fully heal the wound, so she then bleeds out and dies, thankfully. We proceed into the next chamber, where we find the real sage asleep, along with the captain of the royal guard, who'd been apparently nixed by her earlier while we were pissing about. We were meant to apparently stop that, according to the DM, but whoops. The sage is recovering her magic now that the spider thing is gone. So we leave her there, and we take the captain back to Hyrule. We get back, because the captain of the royal guard is still unconscious, Normus claims that the captain of the royal guard, in his last breath before losing consciousness, named Normus the new captain of the royal guard forever and ever. To all the other guards. They believe him. So, at least for the next day until the captain of the royal guard wakes up, Normus is now the captain of the royal guard all of Hyrule. And basically wants to turn into her own personal army to fuck shit up. At this point, Shadowman, my character, is so sick of Normus's shit, I take all of the reward we got for completing this quest and fuck off back to the Twilight Realm, never to return to Hyrule. And that's the end.
Brilliant ending, mate. Well
And I finally got that healing potion. It took the entire campaign. It was my reward.
Quick question.
That's
Was it worth it?
Well, I got a lot of shit. Normus became the captain for a day until the captain probably woke up and drove Normus out of town. And Rin and Slick got fuck all, so...
that actually, as long as we're on the topic of funny D&D stories, I've actually got one to share.
Oh god.
This is from a campaign that I ran for a while, D&D 5th edition. I was actually uploading it to YouTube for a while. It was called Critical Botch. I stopped uploading it after a while. But what it the main plot arc they were a part of was they were trying to find evidence to help prove that one of the most esteemed knights in the kingdom happened to also be dealing with a lot of really shady and illegal and immoral shit. And this wound up taking them to a port city where they were I forget what city it was. It's been a long time, but they went to a city to try and seek out a contact from the local crime rings who might be able to get some information for them. This led to them going down into the sewers, led by a were-rat that I borrowed from my brother's campaign named Nolan, very energetic and scrawny individual, loves cheese, very happy.
Oh, it is a rat.
Yeah, were-rat, yeah. He talks kind of like this, yes. Anyway, so Nolan showed them around the sewers, showed them the safe route to the meeting point, which was, interestingly enough, called the Rat's Breeding Nest. because that's where all the rats of the world, so to speak, as far as like crime goes, all the human rats go to make their plans and breed new evils through collaboration. What the fuck?
That was a phone call.
That's not me.
That was me.
Not my fault.
Unscheduled call.
Anyways.
Mute it.
Yes. Anyways.
I just did.
So, while they were down there, they wound up passing through a room which contained a few blue glowing butterflies. And when the Dragonborn cleric of the group, Panmorn, who is a total dumbass, by the way, he was like the mascot of the group, he asked, "So what's with the blue butterflies?" Nolan's reply was that they're very pretty, but you don't want to touch them. They're very poisonous, kill you in 30 seconds. So they moved on from that room, set up their meeting, had their meeting, went back up top, and then, went to sleep. Following morning, Panmorn, with the infantile mind that he has, went back down into the sewers all alone, successfully retraced his steps to find one of these butterflies because he wanted to catch one and present it to, I forget her name. I think it was Nalalia? I don't know, but it was a female tiefling warlock that Panmorn had just the worst case of puppy love for. So he was trying to catch this freaking thing, this freaking butterfly. He finally manages to get it in a jar, but then it occurs to him, wait. It's a butterfly. It needs to breathe. I just sealed it in a jar. It's going to suffocate, and Eulalia won't be able to do anything with a dead, blue, glowy butterfly of poisonous magic. He does not have a knife on him, so he takes out his sword and uses that to try and poke a hole into the top of the jar. Problem is he rolled shit, so he stabbed himself in the hand, dropped the jar shattered, and then the butterfly came up and landed right on his nose.
Oh my god.
Oh, get wrecked.
It gets better.
Wow.
It gets better.
F.
So he just kind of stares at it cross-eyed for a second, sneezes it off, and then goes back upstairs because he's out of jars. When he finally gets back upstairs and into the tavern proper, he proceeds to pass out in the middle of the common room because he is now being afflicted by the blue butterfly poison. The local druid of the group comes over to check him out, realizes, oh no, he went and saw the fucking butterflies. His nose is turning pitch black and kind of slimy, and it's spreading all over his face. The druid casts a spell to cure him of the poison, and then punches him. And the way he did that was by punching him in the face. It was a touch-based spell, so he touched him by punching him right where his nose was turning black to apply the cure. So he was saved from dying from butterfly poison, but he wound up
By a broken nose.
Oh, he didn't just get a broken nose. He received a permanent dent in his face. Permanent. It stayed with him for the rest of his life, which was until the next plot arc where he then died trying to save another dragon. That really couldn't be saved because it was pure.
Well, he tried to get a butterfly for his love and ended up with a dent in his face that would make sure he never would get his love. So,
yeah.
That's one way to do it.
Like that campaign was full of hilarious interactions and shit.
Oh my.
It's just such a shame that that campaign ended. I am so sad that it ended because Panmorn the Dragonborn cleric was just a delight. Just a delight. He was so much fun.
I heard that love is blind, but hunting for butterflies means death. That's new to me.
don't worry, I'm pretty sure you found Ben's fantasy universe counterpart.
To be fair, it wasn't even that he was an idiot, although he definitely came off that way a lot of the time. He was just very not wise. His wisdom score was incredibly low. His intelligence was high, but his wisdom was low. He was smart. He understood things. He just didn't understand consequences. He was very naive, incredibly so, and it showed.
I think we found Ben's long-lost brother.
I could tell stories about this guy for hours. There was another time later on in the next story arc they were going through when they were in an ancient city, well, not ancient, but an old city that had long since been abandoned because it's one of the darker parts of this setting's lore where in order for the world to even stay alive, dragons routinely have to be hunted down and ritualistically sacrificed to channel their life energy into the world to keep it from falling apart. This city was the victim of one such dragon getting loose in the middle of its sacrificial ceremony and laying waste to the whole thing, and then, its life force being channeled into the planet, but only partially, half of it remained to haunt the city for the rest of time. Well, the party went there because one of the party hailed from there, Eulalia. She came from there. Her father had apparently wound up there and had contacted her via dream magic because he was now entrapped there by the haunting dragon spirit that was manifesting all kinds of horrifying demonic creatures that were not of any other realm to serve as its hands, essentially, because the dragon couldn't leave the ritual chamber. So you got, like, a bunch of Silent Hill-like motherfuckers trotting around, causing trouble.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah. Anyways, at one point, one of these creatures called a mind chainer, it's a creature made up of giant walking chains with a reptile face. And its main power is it can shackle minds if it can attack people with its magic chains. If you get one of those chains embedded into you, your mind becomes shackled and placed into a nightmare realm until the chains are removed. The druid of the group had a chain embedded into his forehead, and so, he was in the nightmare state. And even killing the chain minder didn't get rid of that. It didn't get rid of the chain. So the party began trying to figure out, okay, what do we do about this? I forget who it was. I think it was the dwarf of the party, but it might have been Panmorn. They had the bright idea to reach down, take the chain, and yank on it.
No. How much of the druid's head came with it?
None of it, but his intelligence dropped by 2 points by the time they finally realized that that was a bad idea. It's like every time they make a yank and it doesn't kill him, his intelligence dropped by 1 point.
Oh my god.
Gave him brain damage.
Essentially, yes, that is exactly what they were doing. They were giving him brain damage, and I loved it. It was beautiful, and speaking of brain damage, I think it is time for us to end this episode of Jibber Jabber. So, thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. We hope you all enjoyed, and we will see you next time. Keep listening, people.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Adios.
Hope you enjoy.
See you later.
Keep listening.